most honorable way to play this game, but the developers put it in, so I'm going to use it. Alright, so that's that for this branch. The exit's here, which is nice, but the thing I don't like about this current setup is I have 3 different rooms where monsters can spawn, and I've got a lot of stuff that's fairly valuable. Oh, you know what? It's not completely done for the branch. I still have this door to open, but I'm very obviously getting kind of close to the end here, and I haven't really locked everything down. I also don't have enough energy to lock everything down. The other problem is that these rooms are self-powered, so I couldn't power them down if I wanted to. I could power down this one. I'm not going to at this point, but the problem is that a lot of this stuff is probably not going to survive the run. I'll do my best to defend it, but I need to keep somewhat realistic in terms of its prospects. So now the green over these numbers indicates that I can level up these heroes. Because the hero Elise is opening my doors, I kind of want to have her be the most powerful, but at this point here I am basically updating or leveling up a hero when I have the opportunity. Yeah, and this is the last of this particular branch, so it looks like these are not module damaging creatures though, so each monster in this game has its own sort of pattern. Where am I? I'm 13 doors open. There's probably 25 in this. This probably isn't the smartest thing to do, but I am going to build an industry module here. So basically, the monsters that are spawning, they each have their own different priorities. Some are going to attack your heroes, some are going to attack your modules. Those big fat ones that are running through usually target a specific thing in your dungeon, and so you have sort of free shots at them while they're moving. The best situations are if they try and attack stuff up here, because then you get a lot of shots. What really sucks is if they try and attack something in the next room, because you usually can't kill them fast enough. But in this case, I've usually been pretty lucky that they try to take something far away. Now, the big problem I have right now is, as I was mentioning, I have these dark rooms over here. I don't have enough energy to power all those rooms, and I'm going to start opening more things which are close to my crystal, which I really can't afford to get damaged. So this is going to be where the run gets sort of interesting, just in terms of what I have to contend with. In fact, this is a point where I might start building some defensive modules just to help me defend the rooms. So I'm kind of curious. I actually want to let this guy just run through and see what he wants to attack. Nope. Yeah, okay, and he got him in time, so basically he was going to blow up and he was going to damage the module here and the hero that was in the room with it. So now, what do I want to do with this? It's definitely not worth spending 60 to build something here. I think I'm just going to build a tear gas generator. Actually, you know what? Let's make this real and just build some kip cannons as well. So this is the first set of defensive modules that I've been building. What's going to happen is this tear gas, I think it like halves the defense of monsters that come into the room. Now the kip cannon does bonus damage based on the science that I have. So in this particular case here, its attack power is 0.9 for each stocked science. I have 59 science right now, so it's a little under 60 science or a little under 60 damage that these things are going to be doing. Its base attack power is 1, and its maximum attack power is 130, and I'm going to be generating 6 science per turn. So the nice thing here is that these are going to be getting stronger as long as I don't spend my science. Now I do eventually want to spend my science so that I can have even nicer things inside this dungeon, but these will be nice for defending the crystal over the next couple of turns. I spend my science at these things, by the way, so... Okay, so... this is just going to suck. There's no other way for me to explain it. These rhino things basically break down doors. But fortunately it doesn't... Yeah, so none of these things want to attack my modules. So here I'm just going to use this ability and this ability to generate some extra gold. Or dust, I mean. I really need to make sure that those rhino things die before they get into the other room, because if they start opening doors that I don't want them to, then I'm going to have problems. Alright, that was definitely a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So, power that, and can I take power from a room? Not from any rooms that it would make sense to, so... So normally what I would do here would be power this up and maybe start using it. I am going to take a look at the artifact and see what I can buy with it, but I don't want to spend much of my science right now. Yeah, none of these are really that good anyway. I don't want to be spending my science right now just because they're powering these cannons, and so if enemies start spawning in this area, this is going to be a really hard room for them to get past, so... Okay, nothing spawned. So, in this case, I don't want to spend too much industry right now. I'm fairly low, but I could potentially get food out of this, and you'll notice this hero now is almost at the level cap, so it's a bit of a gamble, and I really don't want to hire that guy, so this is a gamble that didn't pay off, but I am generating 18 industry, so really that was just one turn of industry that I lost. Now, one problem here is I did commit quite a bit in terms of defending this, and really there's only 2 rooms where monsters can spawn from, so this isn't really an ideal situation to be in, especially because I don't have the industry to build more modules here. The flip side to that is that I don't have... Like, this hero is going to be defending this area anyway, so it's not the ideal situation in terms of defenses, but it's also not... Like, it's not disastrous just because I have, I've got my bases covered. There's going to be 2 people who are basically, if something wants to attack my crystal, I've got 2 people here to defend it. I mean, also, if it's something that destroys modules, they're going to be destroying all this other stuff here anyway, so... And there's only really 1 room where it can be spawning from anyway. If it spawns in this area, I've got these cannons here to take care of it, and a device that's going to be having defense. So as long as this hero is able to sort of hold down the fort, I'm good. Now the problem is if it's something that ignores this hero and just starts making a beeline for the crystal. That's something that I don't have a good answer for, but we'll deal with that if we get to it ultimately. Okay, so Rhino thing's dead, that's good. If I can kill these before... Nope, looks like this is gonna suck. So I'm just going to use my special ability to wipe these things out. And as you can see, these cannons kind of did work. So now I only need to worry about things on the left-hand side of the map. And I'll use... Nope. I think I will use this ability. This ability just gets extra dust based on the things that die in the room. I should have done that when there was a big stack, but there wasn't a whole lot of stuff coming from the left, so... And it was enough for me to power this up. So the nice thing about that is I now only need to worry about things from the well-defended room and this side of the map here. Alright. I also think I'll level up Hikensha. So now I have 2 heroes at level 14. I think what I'll do is I'll wait for these guys to cap out. So I'll just stockpile food for the next few turns. And then it'll just be a matter of sort of bringing these guys up. And here I'm just going to kind of just barrel through the rooms, because there's not a whole lot I can do. Like, if a monster spawns, I have to deal with it, so far they haven't been. And actually, because they haven't been spawning, I'm going to... One thing that's kind of slow about this game is the heroes, if they're working a module, if you move them out of that room, they're going to stop working that module. They're not going to get the extra, food or science or whatever they're doing from it. So this is probably my slowest hero, and I need to move her to all the different rooms. Now, one problem with this is that this is going to power down my Kip cannons. But the flip side is that I'm going to, I'm going to be able to get some new stuff out of this. Now, I have a choice. I can pay 22 and I'm going to get a new item in each of these. or I can pay the 17 and I can basically get one new item. The prisoner prod is not a bad item, so I'm just going to research that. But the problem is that it might just get replaced with something equally useless. So, well, okay, prisoner prod isn't useless, but it's not, I don't prefer it to the Kip cannon, let's say. So, but I need to kind of get my science down. It's the cheapest way that I could do it, so. Alright, and I'm definitely going to research Kip Cannon 3. Now the problem is that this is relatively exposed, so I'm going to need to go back and check. I'm going to need to make sure that that thing's somewhat defended. I'm kind of spread thin on that, to be honest, but maybe this will be the last door and I won't need to worry. Nope, it's not. Okay, I will power it though, so. Well, no, actually, you know what? I'll risk it and just power this. Oh, no. Okay, there's a lot of bad stuff happening now. But the last door is open, so I don't even need to worry about energy anymore, to be honest. So if that was a normal turn, that would have been a disaster. But in this case, it's the last level of the dungeon, or not the dungeon, but of this this particular floor. And so I'm gonna lose all of this dust anyway when I go next. So I just need to make sure I kill this thing without losing heroes, which I almost did. And now I just pick up whatever this item is. Frag grenade. That's actually a pretty good item, but okay, so 12 attack power. It'll make her weaker, but I'm not well, I mean 100 HP is really only like a 13th of her. Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna change it up. She's doing a lot of damage. So at this point, I'm going to level her up to level 15. So there's nothing else I can do to improve Elise Ness right now. Next thing that's going to happen is one of these heroes I'll just keep leveling up. This is the part of the game where I basically sort of try to escape. Actually, this is an ideal situation. So I'll take a minute to explain what's about to happen, and then I'll actually do it. I'm just going to get everything organized. So yeah, the thing that was a little bit weird about that one was the last room was being attacked by one of those rhino monsters. Now, if there were a lot of different rooms, what would have been happening was a whole bunch of monsters would have been crowding in on this crystal room. It would have been attacking it. The health of the crystal is the dust. The dust is also what powers rooms. So if your crystal gets attacked, you have less power with which to power rooms. Fewer powered rooms translates to more monsters, which in turn are going to attack your crystal. So there's a bit of resource management behind this game as well. Now, the object of a given floor, it's a roguelike in the sense that you need to get different items and you need to basically make your people stronger to get to the end of the game. But for an individual floor, what you're trying to do is transfer this crystal to the exit. And so the strategy here is to power as many rooms in between my crystal and the exit so that monsters won't spawn there. So what I've done here is everything in this area has been lit, and then basically nothing, well, okay, something could spawn here, but there's already a hero who's going to attack them. And then something could spawn here, but basically there's 2 rooms of a buffer which they're going to need to cross. So I get my fastest hero to pick up this crystal and run to the exit. And then I use my strongest hero basically to run interference. Almost certainly... Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have gone to one of the merchants and sold stuff to them. If I pass by it, I will, but I'm not gonna Yeah, there's the merchant, so that was a bit of a mistake on my part. But you'll notice here, like, none of the monsters are really catching up with me. Oh, it looks like they're going to murder the merchant. Oh well, not my problem. Hopefully I'm deep enough in the dungeon that I can't hear the screams. And now that I'm at the exit, you know, didn't take a scratch and got to the end. So we're now on floor 8. I believe there's 12 in the dungeon. I normally take a small break at every hour. The hour actually is passed quite some time ago. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to get up, stretch, just take about 3 minutes. I encourage you guys to do the same. Thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I've really enjoyed streaming Dungeon of the Endless. I'd like to do more of it. But I also think everybody should take care of themselves. So I'll just take a quick second and we'll be back to finish the next floor. Thanks. Thanks a lot, AK. I appreciate that. And sorry, guys, if that was longer than 3 minutes. Just get the break sign down. Yeah, I definitely appreciate the comment. I do like, I mean, one of the things I like about Dungeon of the Endless too is it's a game that's fairly easy to explain and be, you know, not... I mean, I think if you go into too much detail, it can be boring, but I think there's enough that goes on, and especially if you play this game and it becomes difficult. Well, I mean, the game is just inherently difficult. But it's one that, if you played a couple of rounds, it's there's always something to learn about it. I'm a little surprised more people don't stream it, to be honest, because I'd really like to watch some people who are better at the game play it with me. I mean, I think I'm good at teaching new people to the game, but I can definitely tell you, based on the Steam community stuff, there are people who are much better at this game than me. But what's nice about this case right now is that we have a fresh new floor, so I can maybe just talk a little bit about what I think when I get to a new floor. So it's floor 8, usually on the easiest mode, which I'm playing right now just for the character unlocks. Floor 6 is where I start dying and I'm not able to actually sustain my heroes based on their strength alone. So that's one thing to consider. Floor 8 means I'm getting pretty deep. The next thing to consider is there's 3 different entryways to the crystal, and as we learned from the previous floor, if I can build this nice snaking tunnel, it's very easy to defend, but if I have multiple entry points, it's actually really hard to stop the crystal from being overwhelmed. I would have lost if that wasn't the last room. So the problem is that you don't know what's going to be happening in the dungeon until you open a door, and once you open a door, you can't close it again. So there's really nothing to do. I think I went left last time. I'll just go left again. But this is the real dilemma of the game, which is you never really know what's going to be happening. This particular room has a toxic cloud, so you'll notice that the heroes are really slow moving through it. Now, it's probably just as well that I found this now, because just imagine if I had to defend the crystal and move through this thing. My slowest hero is even slower now. But toxic clouds don't actually damage heroes, so in this case I'm just going to build a food module so that I can get those last few levels on my heroes, and then I'm just going to use the rest of them to explore a room. The first few rooms are kind of nice to explore because you get 3 heroes worth of firepower to back you up. Okay, these things I didn't actually run into on the previous floor, but basically they're... I don't quite know how to pronounce it. I'm thinking Stel. These can give benefits and detriments, so this one says health regen 15 in room without monsters. So a nice thing about this would be if I was in a particularly nasty fight, I could sort of move heroes in and out of rooms to let them heal up. The one problem is that these things slowly whittle down. Like, this is going to take 5 doors to close, and the problem is I can't build anything on top of it. So this is a wasted room to me right now, where I prefer to be generating food from it, to be totally honest. But on the other hand, this could have also been a negative thing that spawned, so, you know, it's not ideal, but it's certainly... Oh man, another one. Okay, what does this do? Okay, defense is nothing, speed is higher, and heroes in a room without monsters give attack power bonus to offensive module. So this would have been great on the previous floor. This is terrible on the current floor. So, and this is up for 5 floors as well. So this is a really rough start. But we'll get through it, so... The one nice thing about this is I'm at least gaining some information about sort of what the layout of the floor is. I at least have a few rooms where I can build some modules in. The only problem is I'm really not generating that much as far as food is concerned. That's my only complaint. So what this is, I've got 2 heroes now that are at their top level. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to open this door. Alright. I've got enough power that I can load... Actually, I'm going to build a food module here. The bonus for modules is based on wit, so I'm currently using the 2 highest wit heroes, 18 and 21. And then I think Elise is still the lowest, and then Hikencha's 13, so this character with a sword will be the last one that I use to work a module. I'm taking a fair degree of damage, but I think I can survive this without using any special abilities. So one of these things is run out, so I can get the last hero to work on it. Right now I'm really hoping for more dust so I can power the rest of these rooms. There's actually a lot of monsters that are spawning, but... So here I have a bit of a decision to make. I can keep building food replicators, or I can also try and bolster my industry. Now 149 is not that great because I'm going to be spending about 30 or 40 for each module that I build. But I mean, the goal I've really set myself is to get people to level 15. I've got 2 heroes that are at it, but I also have 2 people that have 4 more levels to go. So in this particular instance, I am going to build a food replicator, and the ideal is going to be that I can use the other rooms that I go into to supplement my industry later. It's a gamble because this thing could be destroyed the next turn. But I've been fairly fortunate in that there's not been a lot of heroes that, or there've not been a lot of monsters that actually specifically target my modules that have been spawning. So as long as that trend continues, I should be okay. And it looks like my luck run out there, or just ran out. So, oh no, they're going to attack my hero, it looks like. So I just need to be careful looking at the health of everybody. Oh, you know what? I just let a rhinoceros run around. This is going to be a big problem. Basically, this thing's just going to keep opening doors on me, and I have 2 of them running around the dungeon right now, so... Okay, so let's assess the damage. I lost a module, that's not a very big surprise. I think I'm going to go for an industry generator here, just because I really can't afford to fall behind on that. I mean, I've got lots of rooms that'll be very good for powering, you know, powering up my industry and things like that. But it's going to be tough getting dust for them, because I think I'm just going to keep getting swarmed by monsters. And there's not a lot I can do, especially with this toxic cloud room. Okay, well nothing spawned right here, so I can at least sell some stuff to the merchant. Okay, so this is nice. The kitchen gloves give me the same bonus as the radio, but they don't reduce my HP, so I'm happy about that. And then I think this other t-shirt is a better defense. So, do I ditch the prison uniform? Yeah, okay. So, Hikensha gets other t-shirt. John gets a better prison uniform. And this is actually nice too, so I'm getting food for these. I'm going to buy the happy pills just because it gives better wit. It also gives some attack power, which I'm going to be needing a little bit later. And I think the rice wind would actually be a good call here because it... Oh no, it lowers my DPS. So it'd be nice in the fact that it gives me better speed, but this is... I mean, this hero's doing all the work, so I really don't want her to... You know, I don't want her to be doing any less damage. At this point, I think I'm going to keep upgrading Josh if I can. And that's just because he has the highest wit gain out of everybody, so... Again, it's a bit of an ideal, but I'll see how far I can get with it. I'm going to risk another food replicator here. What's encouraging about this particular section is it suggests to me that I'm going to double back and get back to the crystal through... Nope. Well, I thought I was going to, but it's possible that I could have wound back to my crystal by taking that path, but it didn't turn out that way. What does aftershave give? Actually, an aftershave for reptilian species. For others, it is highly caustic. And it decreases wit by 5 and the attack cooldown 2. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And we will upgrade Josh for another 1 wit, which means I'm going to be generating even more food, which in turn means I'm going to be able to level up my heroes faster. Again, it's not... In this game, it is definitely not ideal to always go all in like I am on one particular resource. But it's paid off right now just because I was able to get my hero sufficiently strong in time. I'm not going to hire her. You can only have 4 members in your party. Now, I could theoretically get rid of somebody in my party, but this particular individual is level 7, so it costs 111 to hire that hero. If I get rid of a hero, it's 174. So the 60, like the difference of 60 food is not going to be able to take this hero from level 7 to level 11. So at this point, I'm going to keep upgrading what I have. I'm not going to bring anything new into the fold. Again, it would be wonderful if I had a little bit more dust in order to power more of these rooms, but I gotta work with what I have, and I've just sort of closed off some of these gaps. There's still gonna be a ton of stuff that spawns from these areas, but I can sort of mount a defense around this food module, and at least this food module, if that gets destroyed, it's something that it's at least causing the monsters to attack something other than this industry module, which is going to sort of keep me in. It's going to keep me in resources for the next floor, so I want to keep that thing up as long as I can. Self-powered room is nice. Actually, I think I'm just going to build a resource module there right away. I'll go for food. It costs industry to do that, and I'm on room 15. There's probably 25 rooms on this particular floor, so that's really only 10. That's 10 rooms where it's going to be generating, but it's 6 food per door. So as long as I can get that thing running for the full 10, that's going to pay for itself in more than a 1-to-1 conversion. And I think here I'm going to upgrade Warden Mormish just so I can keep sort of an even balance between these two. He also has a sort of a global ability, so he can strengthen Elise's attack even if he's not in the same room as her. So I think it's, well, actually both of these heroes have that same ability, so it's a fairly decent one. None of these are really that good, but the dust field generator is only 17, so I think I'm just going to build that. I also haven't built any kip cannons yet, but that's mostly because the heroes that I have can sort of defend the path to the crystal. Alright, so it's kind of unfortunate. What happened here was an EMP blast disabled some of my modules, so the module that John was originally working on isn't actually producing anything right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move him up to, well, I'd like to move him up to another food module, but nope, this one's working. Now the problem here is he's not actually going to be serving any, he's not going to be helping with the defense of these modules anymore. But what it does at least do is ensure that I'm going to be getting as much food as I can, and I'm probably not going to be able to get both people at level 15, but it does mean that there's going to be at least one less food module that I need to build on a later floor. So I am sort of weakening my defenses, but it's not... I think it's better to move him into that other room than it is to keep him idle in the name that maybe I'll need him for the defense. Basically, if things are getting to my crystal, I'm probably going to be moving everybody to that area anyway. At least in this case, Mormish is going to be defending from the left, and Hikensha is going to be defending from the upper areas. And this is the last room in this branch, so this is definitely going to be spawning a lot of really nasty stuff that I don't want to deal with. And it looks like that's happening already, so... So John's getting attacked. I gotta move him out of there. So one drawback is there's a particularly nasty creature in this room. It might actually be able to kill this primary hero that I have, but she does also have this sort of self-buff, and I have enough food to heal her, so as long as I'm fairly quick on my responses, I should be able to get through this. I ideally don't want to spend food healing her, but we'll just see what happens. I think she can make... I'm going to put my defense up, but she can make it without... That was close, but it paid off. I would have brought John in to help as well, but the problem with that is he was also low on health and he doesn't have that defensive capability, so it's definitely suboptimal to have him in that one location because he's actually taking a lot of damage, but the alternative is to put him in industry where he's almost certain to be attacked. Actually, hang on. It's best if he's working on food, but at least I can keep him... I can keep him in one place if I keep him here, so I think I will make him work it. Again, my priority right now really is food to strengthen my heroes. But I think not... Every time I move a hero, it means that they're not going to be working the module that they have, so... At that point, I suspect I'm going to be losing more than I'm gaining if I have to constantly move John. So in this case here, I'll just get him working on something a little more useful. I mean, industry is something I'm going to need to use anyway. It's just that, ideally, I like to focus my industry... I like to focus the industry that I use at the late game when I need it the most. But I mean, every game is... The whole point of a game like this is that every time you play it is different too. So in this case, the strategy sort of requires me to, to adapt. Or not the strat... The circumstances require me to adapt my strategy. I really don't want more people. Oh, well, I mean, I guess he can fight monsters when he's in that room, but... There's really no ideal way to defend this whole area here. I think I'm just going to have to accept that it's a crappy situation and open the door on the other side of the crystal. I mean, the thing that really gets me is that this, my superhero is so slow. Oh my god. I'm just gonna deal with this first, I think. As long as Josh doesn't die, I'll be good. Ah! Okay. So... I think I'll worry about repairing that later. And I know Elise was able to handle one of those at half health. Now, admittedly, she used turtle mode, but there's no reason why she can't just solo this thing. These are really neat. I can't remember what patch they were added in, or if they were added in the final version, but it's really interesting to have these stationary enemies. Okay, could have been worse. I definitely like the fact that John's at level 14 now. Drop the tool belt. Let Elise repair it. The one thing I'm not crazy about is the fact that you need to keep a hero in the same room for them to work a module. Now, I think it stops you from cheesing out on a few things. But I think the thing that's most irritating is you could accidentally move a hero and, you lose that one turn of production. I think if they haven't done any substantial action, I think they should still be able to use the module. But I mean, the lesson of that one is just don't be an idiot and don't move the hero, but sadly I can't not be an idiot. It seems hardwired. I really hate these rhino things. At least they die quick. I mean, one thing I'll say for the full greed strat here is that Elise seems to be particularly... I mean, she was the whole reason for doing this run, to finally unlock her. But she does seem particularly well suited to sort of be just a one-man, you know, one-woman band, while everybody else is improving the resources. Again, this whole layout I'm not crazy about, and I think I probably could be generating more food, to be totally honest, but I also sort of need to keep conscious of the fact that yeah, this game actually is quite similar to FTL. Sorry, is it Animadia? Welcome, by the way. I mean, definitely under the roguelike genre. Oh, great, sorry, I'll talk about the similarities for FTL for a second. Kip Cannon 4, that's that thing that, you know, I was able to get 130 damage out of that because of the science. This thing raises that level to 190, so I'm absolutely researching this thing. That's basically something that'll win you the game on the final level. So, I mean, the similarities with FTL would be, FTL is based pretty much on surviving all of the sectors while strengthening your ship for the final fight. I'm not entirely, like, I couldn't say there's a major final fight at the end of Dungeon of the Endless, but in the idea of permanent death, you know, the retro aesthetic, the whole, you know, soup up your characters to get through the end, very similar along those lines. I think, I would argue that FTL is harder even on its easy mode, but I certainly love FTL, and I really like this game as well, so. I also like talking about this game. I mean, the whole connection that I had with it was I didn't think the tutorial was very good, so I wrote a Steam guide for it, which is still available if you're interested. But, you know, just being able to work out sort of an ideal strategy on how to handle a floor or something like this it's fun. I mean, especially a floor like this where just everything's going wrong. Ah, John's dying. Again, the whole purpose of this was to try and avoid moving John, but I gotta deal with situations as they arise. Okay, now Hiketch. So in this case here, I could get by with not spending food because I used Elise's Shrapnelizer ability, which is an amazing ability, by the way. It basically melts everything on the turn. The one thing I really wanted to avoid was having that rhino. I mean, it's bad enough that a rhino will open a door and just cause more monsters to spawn, but it'd be devastating if they opened this third door to the crystal here, just because there's no way I could ever defend that. So oh, and I lost the industry module. That sucks. Wow, I lost a lot of modules, actually. Probably dumb of me to build them. Well, I mean, I don't need to worry so much. You know what? Okay, let's see how much I can close off on one side completely. That seems to make a little more sense to me. So, I mean, this side's going to get hammered, but at least I don't need to worry about things spawning from different sides. I still have my slowest character having to run across the map to defend it, but... I mean, at least in this case here, there's a choke point, and it catches my level 15 hero, so I can sort of survive it. do turtle mode if I have to. Oh wow. I think at this point I just gotta spend food and keep these guys alive. Not ideal, but that's the hand they've been dealt. Okay, I got the Kip Cannon. You know, I really should build one of those actually, because I definitely seem to be running into a lot of trouble. So yeah, what I'm going to do here, I mean, I don't have that much left to do on this floor, but I'm just going to build my standard defensive structure, which means I can power this down. So what this basically does, the tear gas will divide the enemy's defense. In this case, it divides it by 3.456, so basically a third. And then on top of that, these Kip cannons are going to be getting extra damage based on science, which currently is 119. So that's 119 damage on something that's at a third of its regular defense, which is a game-winning combination, assuming you don't kind of open doors in such an idiotic fashion as I did. And of course, I'm recklessly going to spend my science because I like having weak Kip cannons, apparently. The viral injector is actually a somewhat decent item to get, so I don't always build it, but it's nice to have something sort of damage damage over time in a fairly remote room. So whatever's coming in, like let's say I had John sitting somewhere who's, you know, he's been getting hit pretty hard. If I've got something that's fairly weak by the time that it reaches him, that's a little bit more ideal than, let's say, him facing down some monstrous horde. As you can see, the Kip cannons are doing work. Whether they do enough work is another matter. We'll see. To kill me. I don't think she can actually survive this on her own, so I just need to be careful on spending health. I don't want to waste health, but I also don't want to lose a level 15 hero. Yeah, I'll spend it this one. Definitely food well spent. And I can still level up Mormish. So it's not great that well, actually I lost a couple Kip cannons as well, but I really want to save my industry for the next floor, so I'm going to try and get by with what I have. On that note, because my Kip cannons are going to be relatively weak anyway, I'm just going to see what I can get out of these. This would be a really great thing to build, but I'm going to be done the floor before I can. So hopefully, I don't remember if the blueprints stay the same between floors. I hope they do, because I'll definitely be building enough science to be able to afford that. But for now, I just got to open doors and finish the room. I mean, I could technically finish this floor right now by moving the crystal, but that would not be a good idea. In fact, this might be a problem, but let's see. If I need, I can fire this thing off. You know, I maybe didn't even need to spend that food, but when it comes to heroes, it's usually better safe than sorry. But at this point here, I'm definitely going to save up for that science generator, because if I can make it so that on the final floor I'm just generating science and strengthening my kip cannons, then it's a fairly trivial task to get through to the end. I pretty much accept that I'm going to be moving these back there. Holy crap, that's a lot of stuff. So I'm definitely going to be spending some food on saving this guy. Yeah, nice. I really don't want to have to spend food, but I suspect it's going to be necessary depending on what... Actually, this isn't that bad. The main reason why I'm still powering stuff down here is because... I mean, having one room of potential spawns is not the end of the world. In fact, I could... How much is this really protecting me? I mean, I think the idea of having to individually fight... Well, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to individually fight those anyway if there's something on the other end of the door. But basically, the idea here is that lowering the chance of something spawning on this end means that I can spend that time running over. If I have to clear a room and then come back, I'm probably going to lose Hikensha. So, with that in mind, I can just use, you know, the Armchair General, and I can use something like Warface to, you know, to improve her chances. But in the end, Hikensha can't really withstand the kind of attacks that are coming after her. Yeah, and I'm lucky that nothing is spawning to kill me. I don't want to buy any of this, but I can sell the Iron Shield. So, in a just and perfect world, there would be 3 more doors, 2 which would allow me to start building a new science module, and the 3rd which would allow me to open the door and research it. But I have a suspicion... Well, actually, you know what? If there's 30 room... No, but I know it's possible for this game to have not a round number, so... Alright, well, let's just see how many doors there's left. Typical. Well, at least I got some industry. And now I can kind of afford to move everyone where they need to be, so it seems like there's some stuff running through here. I think I'm just gonna let these guys eat the food module, and then I can move them into location when I have to. Yeah, you know what? So they just need to stay in the crystal room now. I mean, as a group, they can go and clear the bruisers, but kill it. Alright, so everybody's in fairly good health. Now there's going to be basically large splash damage for taking these things down, but as long as they're not particularly nasty, we can clear them out quickly. The problem is Elise is so slow that my heaviest damage dealer is also the last one to start working on it. Alright, I don't even remember where the exit is. Oh, right, it's above, so let's get rid of these. Oh, this is going to be hell on earth to try and... Oh, God. Okay, so Elise will stand here. Oh, wait, I can still get... Yeah, this isn't so bad. Basically what I'm, just the same as on the other floors. I'm trying to make sure the route at the very minimum is clear. Now I basically need to worry about stuff spawning from other rooms. Now, I'm going to have Elise sort of taking care of the back. So what I could do is I could put, you know, a one-room space, or I could try and do one of these. I think actually the one-room space idea isn't so bad. In the end, I'm probably going to keep Elise here, and she's going to need to run a lot of interference, but she also has some fairly strong... Like, she's pretty combat-oriented, so I'm not so worried about her dying. Also, I'll have these kip cannons left over. As long as I can survive the 2 rooms, I should be able to make it through to the end. Yeah, so this is more or less one now. It's completely optional to kill the monsters that are coming after you. As long as you get to the exit, that's all that matters. Okay, so it'd be nice to have more science, especially knowing that there's that level 4 science module. But I've got enough industry to get me my... This will probably be the last floor where I need food, depending on how many I can build. Which means I can start focusing on science and industry for the remaining 3 floors. Also, I noticed there's some new people in the chat. Welcome. If you guys have any questions about it, feel free to ask. I'm not as responsive as I'd like to be on chat, just because I'm playing on a fairly constrained surface, so I don't always get to see chat when I want, but feel free to comment or ask questions. I certainly like talking about this game. Otherwise, I certainly talk about what I'm doing anyway. So now, what kind of sucks here is that most of the time I've used the cryopods. There's been just people in there rather than food. Okay, well, at least I get food this time. But I really wanted to use that thing just so I could build a module. And let's get John to level 15. So, yeah, this is definitely... As long as I can keep these food replicators working, this should be the last floor I need to build them. I might build them one more just so I can have a nice stock to heal with. But I'm definitely getting past the point where I need to worry about upgrading heroes. Unless they die, that would be terrible. Okay, well, this is going to be a really easy crystal run. Mizzy's actually a pretty good hero, but I mean, there's no point in getting any more people, so I'm going to put... There's a trick that you can use if you're low on dust. You can actually put heroes in rooms. The problem right now is I'd love these people to be working modules, but there's no space for them right now. So in this case here, I'll at least keep them as bodies in a darkened room so that monsters can't spawn there. Of course, when I finally do use them for industry, I'm going to have to deal with an abnormally large number of monsters. But until that happens, I'll not worry about it. Something like this is pretty trivial to deal with, so... Oh, but it seems pretty determined to get my crystal. So I can finally put Mormish to work. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna power this up just so I can have another food module going. Again, it might be overkill in terms of how much food I'm generating, but the idea here is if I can... not just level up Mormish for 2 levels. So I think that's probably about 400 food. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to be able to do it this floor. Almost certainly not going to be able to do it this floor. But basically, if I could level up Mormish and then build a surplus for myself, then I could focus entirely on industry and science for the remaining floors. But I think it's going to be 2 floors worth of food that I build, which is fine. So I'm not crazy about doing the science creator right now, but I figure this is going to be the best defense I can do because it's really unlikely I'm going to get enough dust to defend all those rooms. Don't care about Gork. Gork is definitely a good hero as long as you can get past the mobility problems. But I don't need... With a party max of 4, I don't need new friends. Doesn't look like anything's attacking the artifact, which is good. Definitely need to deal with the rhino. I'm sufficiently impressed that Gork is still alive, actually. So I can upgrade Mormish. 245, so... Well, you know what? I'm generating 55 a turn, so it looks like... I just moved him. That sucks. So yeah, I maybe shouldn't be as pessimistic about the opportunities. I am going to shift power over just so I can have another food module, and I think at this point now I'm going to focus entirely on industry and science. Not that I have the power for it anyway, but it's a nice goal to... It's an aspiration. Okay, good. Not too worried about the other heroes dying. I'm not going to use them, so if they can weaken the monsters, I'm happy with that. I realize that is very mercenary of me to say, but it's the truth. Hey, she survived. Is Gork still alive? He's alive too. This is wonderful. What cool stuff can I buy? Autodoc shards would actually be kind of nice because they can heal heroes, but I really would want to put Kip cannons on the job. Prisoner Pod 3 is only 1 science more, so I think I'm just going to get that. It's a nice little backup, so like, let's say for whatever reason my science was too low, I can use those in place of the Kip cannons. And actually on that point, as much as I'd love to use the science creator, I am going to use an industry generator down here just because it's in a safe place. And I know I don't need to worry about... I need to worry about the thing getting destroyed. I mean, if some of the food modules die, that sucks, but I'm going to be able to get what I need. Industry I'm going to sort of be relying on, so I'll put that in the safety zone. This is all entirely positive in force. Oh, hang on. No, this sucks. So my heroes have half their attack power, but my minor modules are better, and I have no minor modules. So that would be a good time to build Kip cannons, but I'm not interested in doing that. And I think... Oh, Mormish can actually upgrade now, so that's good. So I've maxed out all the levels, and I actually have some pretty good items for most of these heroes too. So at this point here, the rest of the game is going to be me building industry and science and just building ridiculous defensive structures for the remaining floors. And I've been very lucky in the fact that monsters have been spawning. Let's go for a mechanical pal. It's probably a waste of science, but I figure I can build a lot of industry modules and the mechanical pals can give me a bit of a boost. This is not ideal. I just hope it's not attacking the crystal. That thing's definitely going to attack the crystal. So let's get Normish to do his armchair general. Oh, really? Okay, I gotta kill the Hydra thing before. I forgot that. So the Hydras, what those do, they actually slow your hero down, which for the purposes of, you know, a hero that's already contending with the fact that there's a Stell lowering her attack power, and the slowest moving hero in my group, that's the worst possible spawns that I could have dealt with. But we lived, so that's good, I guess. I don't think there's any way I can build any modules that I need right now, so I think at this point I'm just going to barrel through as many doors as I can and hope nothing scary spawns. These I like just because it means that I have less to deal with. Like, this is a fairly nice defensive position, so if I could reduce everything down to this, I'd be fairly happy. Oh my god. Help? Okay, you know what? Everybody's going into the crystal room. It's the only way. And use everything. That was awful. Alright. Let's go kill this brute. Oh, come on, don't die on me, guys. I hate that stealth so much. Okay. What a nightmare. Okay, let's do tear gas and a kip. Yeah, these are all terrible defensive rooms as well. Scumbags tell indeed. Oh god, okay, okay, at least there's 3 for this one, so kip it. I mean, this isn't gonna defend anything, but it's better than nothing. Yeah, I'll just keep telling myself that. Okay, John's gonna work on industry because that's what I need the most right now. Mormish can work on food, and Kensha can be on the front lines. Oh joy, and I have 2 different doors to go over. Okay, I'm gonna just give that toxic cloud a few turns to go away. Oh, don't get the option. Amplitude, I thought we were friends. Well, at least the Stell from hell is gone, so... how many... 20... We spend 45... You know what? I do actually really want that. Science, so... I'll go with that, and... blindly run through a toxic cloud. No. Hurry up, damn it! That's another room not powered. I actually haven't paused on this run yet. I really want to get that achievement. Yeah, I guess it could have been worse. So these are manageable without healing, I think. Is there seriously another one of these things? Okay, you know, I should probably focus on the task at hand. If there's another Stell that's reducing my damage, I'm going to freak out. And we're not talking like, this isn't an ordinary freak out. We're talking like Vietnam style. Okay, so I was at a quarter of attack power a turn ago. This explains a lot. I think I am going to have a Vietnam era style freak out. Never get out of the boat. Okay, you know what? How many turns is left? Okay, thank God there's only one more turn of that. What an absolutely awful, awful floor. And I still need to run through the toxic cloud. Congratulations, everybody. You now just got me in I don't know, negative mode. But at least we have science. 22... I get 6 science, 50 for... Actually, you know what? So I'm getting 25 industry per turn. I'll accept that. That's only 2 turns of opening doors. Okay, you know what? They can go to hell. Everybody just go defend the crystal. I think I need to accept that none of my heroes are going to be working modules at this point. The hell is happening to her? Oh, Hydras. Oh, and apparently there's some rhino running around causing terrible things to happen. Where is that rhino? Okay, some minor relief. I think I will keep Elise outside of this fight for now. If time to see is Warface. Okay, so John on industry, Mormish. Yeah, you know what? I think I'll just go for the same rotation. At this point, I think I really just want this floor to be over. I mean, I've got a absolutely beautiful amount of food, and I think the industry will follow nicely. I just hope I don't do something really stupid and lose a hero. Yeah, speed's not bad. Do I... There's a merchant around here somewhere. Probably dead. Run for your life, woman. And you know what? I'm just gonna voluntarily open this door. It cannot possibly be worse than anything that's about to... Jesus Christ. Oh, I hit... Damn it. And this is why we stockpile food. I actually think I should build a food module on the next floor just to... allow that to happen again. Okay, we didn't lose, thank God. What was supposed to be the easiest run in my life is now actually going to be kind of hard just because there's going to be stuff spawning all over the place. Kensha, put on your runners. Okay, she's going to need backup. Oh, maybe not. I'm not sorry to see that floor go away. Okay. I'm at the hour mark again, as in fact the game tells me. So I am going to get up, take a quick less than 3-minute break, get up and stretch, maybe refill my water. I encourage you guys to do the same. Thank you everybody for coming out and watching Dungeon of the Endless. I am slightly about whether or not we can turn this into a win, but we will give it our best. But before I do that, I'll leave you with Fly By Nose, wonderful elevator music, and I will see you in a couple minutes. Alright, thanks everybody for sticking around and waiting. Well, for those who did. Those who didn't, I can't talk to you because you left. Floor 10. Let's see if things get better. Okay, well I really like this layout to start off with. In this case I've only got 2 options as far as doors, which means, especially now where I'm going to be focusing on industry and science, and I already have my Kip Cannon 4 and my Tear Gas 4, I just need to find a room that I can basically have bristling with weapons. This is actually a fairly good example of such a room. There's a few things that make this nice. First of all, I can put Tear Gas in the front, and then the Kip Cannons afterwards. So everything gets hit by the Tear Gas as soon as it comes in and basically melts under the Kip Cannons. Now I'm going to do a food replicator just because I need to spend so much keeping everybody alive. But I know no matter what comes on the other side of the door, this is a good room to make a sort of a last stand in. I'm not going to need to defend in the crystal room anymore. Unless something terrible happens down below, but I'll hold off on that for now. This is actually another good defensive room, but I don't want to go overkill on the modules. I still need to build up my industry, so I'll hold off there. I think tactical HUD would not be bad to go for. I'm probably not going to build one until the last floor, but I figure at this point it's not bad to start investing in stuff like that, because I am going to be building some science modules to bolster that production. In fact, I'll do that right now. I probably should have built industry, but I'll live. Wait, why isn't John work? Yes, John's working something. Never mind, I'm just being stupid. Sadly, nothing I can build there. Can I sell something? Yes, an energy bar, and I think the nail gun might actually be better for Mormish, so let me just see. Yep, as DPS goes up, can I improve on the pea shooter? Nope. And neither of these can use it, so we'll sell that. I don't really want to give up any industry right now, so as cool as it would be to have a Nano Brothers, which would... I mean, 7 wit is really good in terms of building that. And Occam's Gouge, I seem to remember, was a fantastic weapon. Ooh. How much is it? 81 industry. I'm gonna buy it, actually. That's such a good weapon. I just need to make sure Hikensha's on the front line of this stuff, so... It's, I mean, this might come back to bite me just because I only have 127 industry right now, but as long as I can make it up, I should be good. There's no point in powering that down right now, actually. Okay, actually, I'm going to do something probably kind of reckless, but... this will at least give me 2 rooms worth of power. And anything that's coming through on the other end of this is a badass beyond what I can handle. So I definitely need an industry generator now. Oh god, what is this thing gonna do? Oh, health regen 20, not bad. Yeah, that's fairly nice setup. It sucks that we lost the merchant, but these things happen. Yes, please. So I can afford to keep these rooms unpowered just because nothing's going to get past this. And then I'm going to have another room to generate industry or science in once the Stell's gone. So this will be pretty good for a start, just as long as I can get enough power. The problem here is I've only got 40 power right now, and I need 10 to power the first thing down below here. So it's going to be a bit touch and go at the start, but I think we can get through this. Especially with the 8 dust that came from that room. Yeah, Vormish didn't need my help at all. I think this is still a call for industry. I'm also going to do a little bit of reorganization here, so I definitely want Hikensha to be on the front lines, and I don't see any reason for John to be working on food anymore, because we've got 400, and I mean, I had 200 at the start of this floor, I think, so it's probably overkill to have somebody generating so much. I'm definitely going to need industry and science for the rest of the game, though, so I can handle that. Oh, right, they still need to work on it, so we'll see. I can't remember how much I'm going to be generating from this, but it'll probably be a fairly substantial amount. Nice thing about this is, as long as the kip cannons do what they're supposed to, there's going to be a fair amount of dust that generates from this, and I don't even really need to have another hero there. I think I got unlucky that time around, but... Oh, I also need to build my defenses here. This is not as ideal for defense, but I think we can make it work. So I'm pretty well covered on both ends as far as defenses go. I've got... I mean, this is the room of death, and everything else is covered. This is an okay defensive room, but I also have Occam's Gouge to protect things, in addition to the fact that my other combat-oriented character is going to be on this end as well. So as long as I don't run into anything particularly nasty, I should be good. I think I just found the particularly nasty thing, though. Hydras. Okay, actually that's a lot better defensive structure than I thought it was going to be. Okay, self-powered room, I like those. I mean, the question is, do I really want to build something here? My inclination is to say no, just because I think I can get more... I mean, I think I'll just wait out the Stell and build something in a safe place. I also kind of want to see if I can research something. I should probably be saving up the science, just because I do get a 190 from the... Like, Kip Cannon will give me at least up to 190, so these things are at maximum efficiency. But Tactical had 3 is so good. So I weakened my defenses a little bit, but I have more guns than I really need. Or, to my Republican viewers, I understand that one can never have too many guns, but I will appeal to your self-interest and say that investment in technology just gives me more efficient firepower. Yeehaw! Yeah, so this is the point I must regret that the game might get a little repetitive here, because as long as I can build... this entire strategy of having 3 people build or work on the modules, and I went for a really greedy start with having both John and Mormish. All of this has been leading to this point here where I have over 100 of every single resource, and I basically just run to these areas of safety. But if you haven't gotten to the end yet, you do get to see what the final screen looks like. Unless, again, this whole thing could fall apart too. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm going to do science just because I feel like there's stuff I can still develop here. And industry, I think, will sort itself out now that I'm not actively building things every turn. I mean, 41 per turn is a lot. 20, comparing that to 29, and I believe... No, it's because John's working the industry. Yeah, so I think I'll just stockpile industry, and then for the next couple of floors I can worry about science. I think I'll try and do the science achievement as well, so that means I need to be a little bit more on top of my R&D efforts. And these hydras are going to be a problem. Spot. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which will give wit. So I can replace the tool belt, the happy pills, or the scope. I think I should just get rid of the scope because this character already has operate. And I don't have another merchant, right? No. And see, a nice thing about this particular strategy, the hydras are really the thing that'll kill me. But where I would have been previously complaining about not having enough dust to power rooms, at this point, as long as I can keep getting back to those kip cannons, it doesn't really matter that I can't power as many rooms as I'd like. And as it happens, stuff isn't spawning anyway, so I'm getting lucky there. So I think at this point, it's actually just a pure... I think it's just pure industry that I'm building. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to research. So yeah, because I'm in a fairly comfortable position now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to... I mean, if I have a tactical module 4, I'll maybe try researching that. But at this point here, I'm just going to try and get the level 1 of everything and unlock the achievement. I probably am doing this a little bit too late to actually achieve it, but level 1 stuff is fairly cheap to buy, so I'll do my best. Nope. I should probably power this room, but I've got this nice 3-room unbroken string, so I gotta make the hard decisions. Yeah, there we go, there's the power. Oh, improved tutu. Oh no. Okay, actually, you know what? He can just keep knocking down as many doors as he wants. Except when Mormish starts dying. So the problem is I'm not able to do this science anymore. Okay, I'll at least try to stop some of this stuff from happening. Yeah, so I don't even know how many rooms worth of monsters that was, but I mean, my regret about that is that that's probably a full research item that I missed out on because of that, but I also really didn't want to have my level 15 hero run out into God knows what and die, so it's still probably not the best decision I've ever made, but it's at least something that has a vague justification. And I mean, now I just have a bunch of clear rooms that I can pillage. And ideally, this dust machine's going to give me a bunch of stuff too. I mean, I'm at 400. 400 is my lowest amount of a resource, so I'm pretty sure I could not build any modules for the next couple of floors, and I'll be okay. Nothing. Wit and speed. That's pretty good, actually. Nah, I can't justify it. So spare mag and 5 wit. I'm pretty sure anybody who equips this is going to be better off. Oh, you know what? Hikensha is my crystal bearer, so battlefield injector on her. Three or 3? See, they're both really good. I think Josh can ditch the tool. Yeah, as long as I keep the tool belt in the backpack, I can equip it when I need it. So I'll just clear out this area first, and then this will be like the last door that I open. Jesus Christ. Hydras, man. I have a new least favorite enemy. I used to hate the Rhino Riders, but I don't think they even compare. And it's really stupid of me to just try and power up this stuff. I should be clearing out this area first. Probably wouldn't need to heal up. Alright, well, there's the exit, so. I'm almost certain I've seen this floor layout before. I'm gonna guess there's 3 rooms behind there. We'll see whether or not I have a good memory. It's not exactly the same as I remember it, but definitely there's some components that are familiar. And I'll get Tactical HUD 4, which I'm assuming will be helpful on the last couple of floors. I think we'll just hang out here. We did it! I guess I didn't need to power that down, did I? I really should be using these armchair generals. They're just kind of sitting by without use, but I'll wait for a big stack. Like this one. Seriously, they got through? Oh, please kill that thing. Jesus Christ, Mormish. Did I say 3 rooms? I meant 4 rooms. Well, that's the last door. And unfortunately, a lost science project. I'm pretty sure I can't get that achievement now, but I'll still give it a shot. Okay, so basically I just shut everything off on this side, power up my trip to the... Oh, I completely forgot to pick that up. So in this case here, I've actually got more dust than I really need for this particular run. In fact, at this point I think it might be smarter to... No, I'll keep one here. Yeah, I'm not even sure quite how to plot this out, but I think this will be a fairly low impact run. And I know my crystal bearer is actually faster than before. She might actually outrun Elise. No, it doesn't look like it. Out of here. So 700 industry. I'm pretty sure I can build something in every single room. One thing I don't know about the tactical huts is whether or not they stack. 3 entryways, not the best, and you'll notice you get less dust on these levels. Let's start off bold with a tactical HUD, and I'm just gonna build my defenses. I still should be investing pretty heavily in science, and I do think I need industry just to make sure that I can sustain my pretty wasteful practices. But as long as I get enough dust over the next couple of rooms, I should be okay. So here, I'll do science. And mostly just because I know Mormish is going to be working on it. Actually, do I really want John working this thing? It seems like a waste. I think I'm going to get Hikensha on that, and John will take this. So not an ideal defensive position, but it'll have to do. Really? There's only 2? Alright. I thought I saw more. Lots of toxic clouds. So the ideal thing to find right now would be an endless artifact just so I can do a search, but I don't think that's going to be forthcoming. Again, great. This is a fairly good layout for being able to build some fairly impressive structures, but it's sadly cursed by the fact I don't have anything I can really... Like, I just don't have any power for it, so it's... wasted opportunity is what it is. Research everything because I can. You know, this is kind of wasteful, but I think I'm going to build a super defense here just in case things go wrong at the industry module. I really want to keep that industry module just because it is... I think it's good, but I think if something really nasty gets past here, I at least have a fairly safe room. And, I mean, am I really scared I'm going to run out of money? More science. Similar deal. I think in this case I'm going to build a science module and just see whether or not something attacks it. In 700 industry, I'm pretty sure I can't spend my way through all of that. Gatling gun. Oh, better for everything. I like that. Can't even remember what this merchant sells. Industry. I actually could use that. So get rid of the Fuzi. I'm gonna guess somebody can benefit from the other t-shirt. John definitely. I actually like Mormish being fast. Alright. Josh gets the other t-shirt and we can sell the prison uniform. Probably a bit wasteful, but I think once I start, I know at the end the big brute things that are stuck in rooms can actually get really tough, so it probably doesn't hurt to have some fairly good defense on my heroes. I could always just avoid them, but that's not fun, so... I think at this point I'm just going to be powering rooms based on whether or not I can build a module in them. There's absolutely no reason for me to build that particular item other than the fact that I'm trying to get one of every level 1 item. It's just an achievement well, it's an achievement unlock, but that in turn unlocks a particular play mode. So ideally I'll be doing a few of those. This is a big room, but it's not really that good for defense. Ideally I can get at least one more power, but I don't think it's going to happen. This could actually be problematic. No, the kip cannons are too strong. I really like that these heroes have repair just because it makes it a lot more easier than taking the tool belt and putting it in between each hero. I think the tool belt is a fantastic pickup precisely because you can have your door opener repair modules. But it's nice to not have to waste your time moving people around to do that. Okay, I need to find that rhino. I really don't care about anything else. So, I mean, the only real justification for tear gas would be here because it's a choke point, but it means that for the majority of these attacks, it's not actually really going to be doing anything. Better than nothing, I suppose. Actually, another thing I can do is just use these viral injectors. Pepper spray is also kind of fun because it causes monsters to attack each other, but in this case I just like the viral injector because while it's crossing the room, it means it's going to be taking damage to just get on its way to the heavy defense room. Oh, what does this thing do? Health regen 15 in a room with that one. So that's actually really good for these things. This is mildly ridiculous as far as defensive ability goes. So the one nice thing about that particular stele is if I get my ass kicked by this thing, I just move into another room and I regen. The only problem with this particular defensive room is that I don't have somebody with a healing ability to fix any of the modules. I think I also forgot to, or did I just get pepper spray? Okay, anyways, I think I forgot to do one turn of research. I'm really bad at it. Like, once I have my kip cannons and my, my level 4 of anything, really, I kind of stop caring about science. Other than to power the kip cannons, but honestly, 1,000 science, and don't think I'm going to be running out anytime soon. Alright, so similar idea here, right? I'm gonna... In fact, I really don't care about what's coming to kill me in those other rooms because I know that they're already taken care of. So here I'm just gonna make sure I build tear gas and kip cannons in a crowded area. And then I'll just kind of come clean stuff up in whichever area seems the most important. Okay, so it looks like... So that's interesting. Putting defensive modules in there actually caused it to attack it. I didn't even think of that, but that's actually very obvious in the way that the AI behaves too, so... I'm really hesitant to actually repair stuff inside here, but I've already lost 2 of the... My theory is here that I've already lost 2 of the viral injectors, so if I do the repairs... Oh, no, get out of there. Don't repair those. Stop! Yeah, so the theory is that those 2 things are going to die, and I don't need to worry about the science module dying. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. I'm just happy I have 700 food, so if things really go nuts, I can heal up my heroes. The one thing I can't afford to have happen, though, is I'll have a horde appear in the crystal room, because it doesn't matter how many resources you have there, that's still going to wreck your day. Yeah, honestly, there's no reason to build virus stuff. Oh, well then. Apparently my defenses are not completely immortal.